Hello, everybody. This is Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show. And again, last week was a recorded show, so I wish you again one more time Happy New Year. Hopefully, this year will bring some good things, but let's wait and see. This is an election year, so things are going to be a little bit. Okay, can you hear me properly right now? I don't know. Vedika is telling me. Okay, she can hear me better. So I have Vedika with me and Mo, and Happy New Year to you, Vedika. Happy New Year to all the team of Radio Zindagi. This is Attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to discuss, of course, about immigration, but also about debt settlement. And before I start, anything I'm going to tell you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. And the studio lines, who will open the lines in like few minutes. The number is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. You can call and ask any questions when it comes to immigration or debt settlement. And as much as possible, we'll stick to that. And of course, I will try my best to answer to the best of my knowledge. And again, this is just informational. So if you want a private consultation, you can call our office 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. And again, as I was mentioning a few minutes ago, that this is an election year, so we are going to see a lot of things happening, and a lot of things might not be happening. That's a big problem. For one, for starter, that a lot of people ask me questions about, hey, are we going to see the dates getting better for India? Well, one thing I know, I have the feeling, and again, this is my forecast kind of, is that we are probably going to see a movement up to 2010, maybe the first few months for EB2. EB3 is going to act, it might just get stuck there because a lot of people jump to EB3. And EB1 hopefully will move a few more months or even maybe 1 year. And we might see a jump around October on the new fiscal year, as we always see. But there might also be an available happening maybe in July or so. So this is just my calculation, and I might be completely wrong, but it's just the way I see things. And again, if you want to call, you have any questions on immigrations, whether it is employment-based, family-based, please feel free to call. The studio lines are open actually. 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. So today we're going to discuss about few things. Mainly we're going to discuss about the employment green card, because it's been a long time I don't discuss about the perm labor certification. Oh, just before that, I think I talked about that a few weeks ago. The system of H1B, new H1B has changed now. There will be a system of pre-lottery, which is kind of good for especially for candidates like that. If you don't make it to the lottery, you don't have to spend money with a lawyer to actually prepare the case and submit it. And it will give you also time before October to even file the case, so you don't have to rush and file it at the end of the day. And you will be also able to file it like after April, once you are selected in the lottery. And also I wanted to mention that to a lot of people who have been asking me the questions is, how do we know you are selected? Well, they have not even created the portal, I think. So we don't know. They say around March 1st they're going to start accepting those, and we are still waiting to see how things are going to unfold. But bottom line, I recommend that for people to basically start their process and talk to your lawyer early at an early stage, so that we can actually assess your case, because we have to actually fill that online lottery selection. Probably they're going to ask a lot of information there, and that's going to be some work. It's going to be double the work, but at the end of the day, it will still benefit many people. So I just wanted to let you know about that. That's one thing. And now, talking about employment base, let's talk a little bit about some of the options what you can use to get a green card. A lot of people always kind of get confused. For example, the normal process is through a labor certification, which we call perm, and then after it's approved, then you file the I-140, and then ultimately when the dates are current, I-485. For some people, the dates are always current, so they can just file the I-140 and the I-485, which is the adjustment of status, together, and ultimately even file for the EAD after a few months. Well, you can file it together and you get it after a few months. So this is the regular process. But of course, there are other ways to get a green card, employment base, which we're going to discuss one by one. But just to let you know, a lot of people think you have to be an H-1B or on an L-1, etc. Then you can file for those green cards. This is not the truth. It's very far from that. In fact, I have done many cases where people who are on student visa, or some people not even in the U.S., where we file a straight regular green card, perm labor certification, I-140, etc., and they come to the United States. Some don't have an I-45; they just had to do a national visa center processing, which is at the U.S. Embassy, and they come straight on the green card. But that usually works with people who are not born in India, unfortunately, or China, because there is a backlog there. For those people who are not born in India or China, this can be very helpful. We had a few cases from Ukraine, a few cases from Taiwan, Singapore, etc., where we did very similar tasks. Instead of even going through the H-1B or anything, we just went straight for the green card. But of course, there are many requirements there that the company will have to meet, so I'm just telling people this is totally possible. So when it comes to the green card, which most people basically file on the regular labor certification process, it is a three-part process. Part number one is mostly for the labor certification. That's done with the Department of Labor. So there is a recruitment process that goes into that, and depending if it is an EB2 or if it is usually if it is even an EB3, you still have to go. But if it is an EB3 skilled labor, you might not have to do that many recruitments. But usually you have at least two, I call it three recruitment on mandatory, which means you cannot avoid them. And number two, you have to pick 5 of the others to basically make sure that these are the optional ones. And at the end, after you do all this, then you can go ahead and actually, after you do the process of the recruitment, which is basically putting the ads. And first step is usually what we do is to get the state workforce agency salary, prevailing wage in the area. Once we get that, then we move to the second step, which is placing the ads to basically see if there is anybody who can take this job, a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. And once we pass all those tests, then we start filling the form early, but then only you can fill the form. Of course, there's some timing. You cannot file until 30 days have passed in certain situations. For example, in California, we have the Cal job. Then if in other places, it's a little bit different. So you have to complete that entire process, which, by the way, if you count it like 2 months or even 3 months to get the prevailing wage, then you start the process. We are talking about the 3 months, so 3 months to 4 months. So we are talking total is around 6 months. And after the 6th month, then you can actually file the case itself. And after filing the case, it's taking between 3 months to 8 months to get an answer or an audit, or a denial, which we call has not been certified. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very tactical, not tactical, but it requires a lot of tact to actually deal with those cases, because the perm system doesn't allow you to make any mistakes. It's not like you file it and you find out a mistake, you can just go ahead and try to correct it. In order for you to actually correct it, you have to basically withdraw it and refile the entire thing. So it is important that it is done by someone experienced. And I know it's especially if the case is a little bit tricky, you're not working for the company or something like that, we can handle that for you. If you need help, give us a call, 510-742-5887. And again, Vedika, I hope you can hear me properly, and the studio lines is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. You can actually call for any questions. It doesn't have to be an employment based. It can be family based, like a marriage petition, asylum case, or you name it. When it comes to immigration, I'll be glad to answer if possible on the air, because those are short answers. So you might want to get an appointment after that, or try to dig a little bit deeper after that. So again, number to the studio, 510-657-1170. I think we have one caller. Let me take the call. This is Shah Peerally, 11 a.m.
Hey, I have one question. So actually my H1B is like 6 years of H1B is expiring next year by the end of September, and my employer is planning to start my green card process like now. And I have read somewhere that your form has to be approved or something 1 year prior to your green card, like prior to your H1B expiring date. So is it correct?
Yes and no. Yes, because the reason they say that is because if in case you don't get the case approved, and you don't have 1 year. There are two ways to extend your H1B. Let me kind of rewind. One of them is that the perm and the combination of I-140 and the perm are pending for 365 days. Then you get 1 year extension, or if you have an I-140 approved. So the reason they tell people to put it within the 1 year is because if you don't have 1 year left, you don't have 1 year of pending 365 days of labor certification, etc. So that option is gone. However, the second option is still there, which is the option of an I-140 getting approved. Once you pass within the time of the 1 year, then you can only count on the I-140. Let's say there's an audit or something, then you're stuck. Until the audit is completed, you get your I-140 approved, you won't be able to extend your H1B. So that's one of the reasons that most lawyers or people will tell you file it before the 1 year is completed. So, when I mean file, I mean the case is submitted.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean my question is, so if they start the process now, is it possible to get the perm approved by the end of September this year?
It's a little bit tough, but it is possible, because if they start right now, let's say they shorten everything as much as possible, they get the wage determination within the 4 or 5 months, and then they file it. Yeah, it is possible, because we're still in January. Yeah, it is possible. It's a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible. Okay?
Okay. All right. Sure.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
If you need help on the perm or something, give us a call, 510-742-5887. Okay? Good luck.
Okay.
Let me take another. Yes, thank you. Let me take another call. This is Shah Peerally, you're live in here.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I have two questions. First is regarding the perm. For the perm, I was listening to your talk, and you mentioned that if there is any mistake, it has to be filed again. So my question is that in that case, the priority date remains same, or it is the fresh priority date?
Very good question.
And
yeah.
do you want to take another question, or
you ask me this? Yeah, let me answer this one so that I don't forget it, because you brought a good point here. Number one, it's not any problem, right? Some problems are immaterial, so you don't have to correct it, and you can explain it when you file the I-140. So minor issues, you can always not go ahead with the perm and then explain it at the level of the I-140. For example, a typo, or for example, something totally immaterial. It's called an immaterial mistake. Now, the second point, you say, can you retain the priority date? The answer is no. You can only retain a priority date if an I-140 is approved. Since the perm itself is not completed, then there's no I-140. So, okay, so can you hear me by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah. So the I-140, if there's no I-140 approved, you don't retain it. So unfortunately, no. When you withdraw it and refile it, then you have this issue. But now you have another problem, because if you withdraw it and the dates have already expired and the ads and everything, then you're going to be stuck. You have to redo the ad. But if it is not expired, you can just use the same and refile it. But unfortunately, no priority date. Okay?
Got it. And another question is regarding the H1 extension. So for the H1B extension, for the H4 dependent, if H1B extension is filed and H4 is not filed along with that, can it be filed later?
Well, yes, if the H4 is still valid at the time when it's filed. If not, then no, because you can, then in this case you have to leave the country, get an H4 stamp, and then come back.
Okay, so let me revise the question. Can H1 be filed without the H4 file along with it, and when later it is required, can it be filed separately?
Yes. Okay. You can file it separately. A lot of people hire us to do the H4. They don't want their company lawyer to do it because they don't want them to have control over it. However, if the H4, this rule will only work if the H4 is not expired at the time we file it. For example, let's say your H1 expires in March, March of 1st. H4 also expired in March 1st. And let's say they file an extension for you in February, and in February you start the extension. So as long as it's pending, you're legal here. But the H4 also expires in March. If nothing is filed for the H4 before it expires, then the only way to get back an H4, the person has to leave and come back. So, and you've got to really kind of be careful on this. File it. If the company is not willing to file it, you can call us at the office, 510-742-5887. We can handle it for you, but something has to be filed for her.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. So thank you so much. We have some very good questions today, and I'm focusing a little bit on the EB2. I always talk about EB1, EB national interest waiver. So today I wanted to talk about something which most people want to do or want their company to do, and it cannot be done by you, but you need to at least know what's going on so that you understand the dynamic of how the system works. And it's important to understand, just like our previous caller, the question he asked are very, very unique, and it's important to know the answer to that. And that's why I was talking a little bit about perm, because usually perm is something that belongs to the company. It's not to the candidate. However, oftentimes all the time is the life of the candidate which is at stake. So it's a little bit counterintuitive or even unfair, but that's the way the system has worked, and it's been working this way, and they don't want really the candidate to influence the recruitment process. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Attorney Shah Peerally, and we are today live. It's January 16, 2020, and we are already in 2020, and it's already 2 weeks gone. 3 weeks gone. Oh, no, 2 weeks gone. 2 weeks and something gone, and time is flying really fast, and it is unfortunately another year where we might see some difficulties or some ease. Let's see. Let me take another caller. This is Ray. You will have an air. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Yeah. So I have one question about the minimum prevailing age wages. So whenever you actually take a LCA, so we take for another 2 years or 3 years, and it's approved. But every year the FLCA or DOL actually release the new salary base, right? The minimum wages.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's the companies bound to actually increase the minimum wages accordingly every year in the July?
That's a very interesting question. What you see on the data center is just a guideline for the H-1B. The company, once they get the H-1B approved, they don't really have to pay more than what is on the LCA. That's why they prepare it for 3 years and they log that amount. You cannot really claim that, oh, Department of Labor is saying, hey, they have to pay this. It's not a minimum wage, by the way. What you're talking about here is a determination of the wage. So there's no law that forces them to pay that because the LCA was approved on certain amount. So, but if they go below their amount on the LCA, for example, the LCA is 50,000 and they will start paying you 49,000, then yes, they have a problem. But let's say the wage in the same level went by 10,000, which makes it maybe 60,000. Just because the Department of Labor is saying that doesn't mean the employer has to actually abide and give you that money. Okay?
So, for example, if it's the minimum wage, actually, because LC is exactly the minimum wage in 2017, and it was now it's at almost a 10,000 difference of minimum wage or the same level, same code, everything same.
No.
So still,
you're using the wrong word. This is not minimum wage. This is a level. It's a calculation of the wage. Minimum wage, these are mandatory. For example, in California, some places I think it's $15. You have to pay your employee minimum $15 an hour.
okay.
Things like that. But what you're talking about here is level 1, 2, 3, whatever they have put you on and they got the case approved on. If they have an LCA which is valid for 3 years, you cannot tell them, oh, the government is saying on their website that you are supposed to pay me 60,000 instead of 50. No, there's no requirement for them to even increase the salary. But I always recommend to people to, whenever a company especially, when they're filing for those kind of cases, always make sure that it is more above the LCA. So to answer your question, it's no, they don't have to give you an increase based on that, because that's just a chart to help us to get the green card.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. Can I
Yes.
ask that?
Yeah,
question?
go ahead. I don't think I have another.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's say company is actually willing to start or yet to start actually started the EB2 green card process. So parallelly, actually, I can separately file the national interest waiver EB2. Or it's we cannot start both the separate at the same time.
You can have it both. In fact, if you're eligible for EB2 national interest waiver, I highly recommend it. And don't go with your company lawyer. You should go with an independent lawyer, and we can help you also on that. But if you qualify for it, I highly recommend that you go ahead. You can email me your resume. I can do a quick assessment for you.
Sure.
Shah at Peerally Law. Just put reference radios in the key so that I know.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
I can do an evaluation for the national interest waiver. This is Shah Peerally. You're live in here. Hello? Okay, I think I made a mistake. There's no caller. The number to the studio is 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Attorney Shah Peerally, and my subject of discussion today was basically employment-based immigration, which is the big nightmare, and plus big hope for many people out there. And I was explaining how the perm labor certification works. So the way it works, they have to do the process of doing in order for the labor certification to work, you have to basically kind of have all the ingredients for that, of course. So oftentimes people will be missing letters of employment, references, etc., and then they suddenly deny their case. So it is important that you have everything set for you. And one of the things which is important is that prevailing wage. I think we have one caller, right? This is Shah Peerally. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clear.
Okay. I have a question. I'm on H1. My wife and I have my wife and my daughter which are on H4. My wife get H1 this year, so and her status changed to H1 now. When I see the H4, approval notice, my daughter's H4 approval notice has my wife. My wife is a sponsor in that. So do I need to do anything, or does my daughter directly now tied with my H1, not my wife's H1? So that's a little confusing for me. Can you put some light on that?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, because a lot of people have this issue. What happens now is she became, herself the main dependent. She's not dependent of a dependent, technically. So what you need to do, you need to make sure that you have everything in order when you present it. So it's the part that is so you say your daughter, how old is your daughter, you say?
She's 7 years.
7 years. So in this case, what I recommend is to go ahead and file an I-539 for your daughter. And if you need help, we can help you on that. You can give us a call, 510-742-5887, and file in either through you or through your wife, whichever you want to go ahead.
Oh, so what you're saying is we need to refile the H4, even though she still have her H4 valid till October.
She does have it, but they gave her a separate approval for her, right? Does she? Did they?
So when my wife's H1 filed this year, in 2019, she gets her employer only filed for her, and my daughter is, when I filed myself, my daughter and my wife was on H4. So both of them were under me. But when my wife's H1 is filed, they just filed for herself. So that's where we are right now.
Okay. So what I would recommend, just to be on the safe side, because this is it can get confusing, because she's a dependent of a dependent. Since your wife already moved, it might create some kind of glitch on the system. I would recommend to be on the safe side, file under the I-539 and put the new receipt, and hopefully they will give you another date which is extra, so that it avoids a lot of problem for you. So it's not necessary, because you can use the other one, but I highly recommend you do a new one, so that you avoid more problems when it's time for the green card or the investigator.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And how can I reach you if I need to?
I'll give you my number, 510-742-5887.
5887. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck to you. Wish you all the best. I think we have another caller, right? This is Shah Peerally live in here. Okay. So let us talk a little bit about that. Well, we already talked about the labor certification, and the labor certification is major, because this is what is going to ultimately not only give you a green card, but what will give you an I-140 to extend your H-1B, for example. So it is very important that you make sure, whenever you're filing the case, that it is it is being done properly. Because what we are seeing right now is, unfortunately, a lot of people have entered the immigration market as lawyers, etc., and then they're not familiar with the system, and then it gets more complicated, and they have no answer. So it is a good idea for you just to go ahead, find a lawyer who's experienced. We can help you. We're experienced with it. We've been doing this for 16 years now. So feel free to reach out. 510-742-5887. I think we have another caller, right? This is Shah Peerally. Hello.
Hi, this is Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Hey, I have a question. I have my knee surgery and I want to sponsor my sister to visit me and, to need a help during surgery. So is that possible, and how I do that?
Okay. You are on H-1B and what visa?
I'm a U.S. citizen.
Oh, you're a U.S. citizen. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I think I got this. Yeah, for your sister to come, there's no real sponsor. There is a formality of sponsor, but if she wants to come on a visitor visa, which is usually a business and visitor B1 and B2 visa, then it is a good idea to show that if she gets the visa when she comes to the United States, she will go back. So you don't really need a lawyer to handle that. You just have to fill the form DS-160, get her an appointment at the U.S. Embassy in India until she basically go there. She will have an interview, and once this is done, then she will get her visa or not. Now, getting the visa, B1, B2 visa, is always a headache. So just be ready for that and file the case. You'll find out. Okay?
Oh, okay. Do I have to get the doctor's letter so it will help her to, or the visa center easy for the process or something?
I doubt they will expedite the process. But you can get a letter from a congressman or something if there's some kind of emergency. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck to you, Anita. Good luck. Okay. I think we have another caller, right? This is Shah Peerally. Okay. Sorry for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is again Attorney Shah Peerally for the Shah Peerally Law Show. And you are looking at the situation where basically we are talking about perm labor certification, because I always talk about other things and I never really mentioned the perm labor certification, which is a major component for people to actually get a green card in the US now. Is going to employment base. Most people qualify for EB2, and so it is important you know how the process works, and we are very experienced with. We have done very well for our clients on this, so feel free to reach out. 510-657-1170. 510-657-1170. So, and the studio lines are still open. The number to the studio is 510-657-1170. I think I'm repeating myself, but I'm just saying it. And also, if you want a private consultation, feel free to reach out. 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. So so ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the issue. So I didn't talk about EB1 and etc., because I know a lot of people wanted to know how the process worked, the three-part process. Number one, it's a process of basically kind of preparing for the labor certification with the Department of Labor. Once this is certified, then you move on to the next step, etc., etc. So it is good and interesting to know how it works. So that's why I talked about that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention today is also debt settlement. This is something which is coming back really fast. A lot of people don't realize it, but we might start seeing foreclosure and all the stuff going on. So there are many things that are happening now for people in when it comes to debt settlement. So if you need help, For example, let's say you owe like 10,000 or 20,000 on a credit card, you cannot afford to pay. We can help you on those. So I just wanted to mention that this is a separate unit for what we do is debt settlement, and you can check the blog yourdebtsettlementattorney.com, yourdebtsettlementattorney.com, and also. For debt settlement, the way it works, it's like we basically take the cases on contingency for debt settlement. That means whatever we save you, then we take a percentage of that. So, and if we're not able to get anything done, we don't charge you. So that's the interesting part on it. And also, just to let people know, is like a lot of people have debts and they just try to ignore them. It's not a good idea to really ignore them because they will ultimately sell those debts to different companies, collection agencies, etc. And then what will happen is that they're going to start harassing you, calling you, and ask for the money. As a debt settlement, what it will do, it will protect that, because at the end of the day, first we'll put a cease and desist letter so that they cannot bug you, and then we are going to basically start negotiating with them. So there are a lot of things that people don't know about that are beneficial in America, actually. So take advantage of it. So I am talking about debt settlement here. We were talking about immigration earlier. I'll get back to immigration in 5 minutes, but I just wanted to talk about debt settlement. So the other thing that a lot of people call us on and that was in the past, not really right now. It's what we call second mortgages settlement. As you know, when you have a house, oftentimes people will take two loans to get the house, and then when the house depreciates, the second loan is holding to nothing, because if the house is a certain price, let's say house is 500,000, and then it's worth only 400,000, then you have $100,000 that you are off because you lost that money. It's not like you made a profit. So in this case, we might be able to use that in your favor and get you a deal. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Attorney Shah Peerally, and we're live today on Radio Zindagi, and I wanted to thank Vidika for being with me, and I just wanted to let you know that we have a lot of cases now for H1B. We have a YouTube channel. I encourage you to subscribe on it. youtube.com/Shah Peerally Law. youtube.com/Shah Peerally Law. Please subscribe to it. I put up data as much as I can on it, and many of the radio shows. So I wanted to thank you and thank Vedika for welcoming me for this new year. And anything I told you today is for my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. I think Amit is there, right? Amit, are you? Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing well, Amit. Amit, I think you have like 13 to 14 minutes.